What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today for VH1's Family Reunion Love and Hip Hop Edition, you guys. This is season 2, episode 4, and these titles are very long. It's from Sex Charades to Cisco. This is crazy. These are some long ass titles, you guys. But before we get into the review, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel, then stop taking me out on this date and having me foot the bill at the end of it. Do me that favor by liking this video, you guys, subscribing to the channel, turning your notification bells on, sharing the video, and with that, you guys, out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and discuss VH1 presents Love and Hip Hop, VH1's Family Reunion Love and Hip Hop Edition. That's a long title as well, but I'll get it eventually. All right, you guys, so this episode, it opens up and we see Yo-Yo, or as Sin and Jonathan are calling her, JoJo. They're hanging out, right? So Yo-Yo was telling them that, today is the day for her, right? So she's playing the event, right? And her event is going to be a Black food fest, right? So she's going to be bringing different foods that we as African Americans eat from, different, countries, regions, wherever, right? The one thing I hope she didn't have there was chitlins. Ugh. I mean, I just don't know how people eat chitlins. Those things smell like ass. Well, literally, they are the pig's intestines, right? No, it's interesting when I found out about chitlins, right? Well, I've known about them my entire life. My whole family eats them. I think I'm like one of the only people that don't eat them, right? But it's interesting when you find out that that was what they gave the slaves after they, discarded the entire pig. They gave the slaves the intestines to eat. That is disgusting to me that they thought that little of Black people, right? Now for me, like I said, I rarely eat, like the only thing if I eat anything from a pig, it's gonna be ham and bacon, and that's very rare that I eat those two things. I only eat ham for the holidays, and bacon, that's here or there. But yeah, so then they talked about Cisco, right? So Jonathan is telling Sin that he knows that Cisco wants to have a conversation with her about the song, right? And she says, yeah, Desana, he took away from me because I wouldn't sleep with him. They also did mention Booby in there a little bit, but they brushed past that one, right? So then we move over and we see Erica. So Erica is outside with Brooke and with Meanie, right? Erica got this big ass smile on her face, right? And they were like, oh, you must have got something last night. She gets some every night. Let's stop playing that game, right? Let's stop playing that game like she doesn't have sex with Safari every night. Speaking of Safari and Erica, did you guys see his tweet last week where he was talking about he was single? Erica and Safari, God, they're really milking this at this point, right? They think we're stupid, I guess. Like, Erica and Safari must really believe that people are stupid and that we buy this shit. That they are not in the same house together. They're not. I'm tired of them, right? So we see Booby, we see Marcus, and we see Safari. They're out playing basketball, right? And Booby let us know that, him and Marcus, they're good. Remember the last time that we last saw Booby and Marcus, they were not allegedly, they were supposedly fighting over Brooke, right? So they let bygones be bygones, so they cool with each other, right? So then they have a conversation about Booby and Sin. I don't see them going anywhere. I think that was just for them to have a story on the show. Let's be real. Because I don't see... Well, you know what's so interesting, though? Love and Hip Hop Hollywood and New York. What's the status of those two shows? Are they coming back? Because we in 2020, we got the first season of Family Reunion. We got Love and Hip Hop Atlanta season 10, and we got Love and Hip Hop Miami season 4. But we never heard anything about Hollywood or about New York. Very interesting, right? Because even with growing up hip hop Hollywood or LA or whatever you want to call it, they're getting ready to premiere their sixth season, which isn't this a continuation of last season? It premieres this week, right? Do they come on this Thursday? Whichever. It's just interesting. So I was about to say, Booby or Sin could go to Hollywood or New York to have a little storyline, but we don't know what the fate of Hollywood or New York are, right? So Erica, she's talking to, like I said, Brooke and to Mimi, right? She says that, Safari apologized to her and that he cried in front of the guys. Once again, this is bullshit storyline. Let's keep it real. We're going to move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So here's the question that I have to ask. Why is Shekinah here? What is she here for? I don't understand why we have Shekinah, but okay. So they're all, doing yo-yos, Black Food Fest, right? She had oxtails. She had looked like she had fried chicken, fried fish, macaroni and cheese. The food looked good. I will say that. The food looked good. So Erica, she asked Marcus, like, what happened when you had the conversation with Safari yesterday? He said, maybe he feel like somebody got to him and just broke it down to him, like, hey, don't worry about the relationship, right? Worry about the environment and the kids, which is the most important thing, right? Worry about the environment that you're gonna raise your kids in, so don't worry about your relationship right now. Try to get into a good space with each other so that way things are not so toxic when things are not toxic and volatile around your kids, so to speak. So we see Cisco. So Cisco wants to have a conversation with Safari. So you guys remember that Cisco's been saying he needs to have a conversation with Peter. He needed to have a conversation with Sin and Safari. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why he needed to have a conversation with Safari. Well, he told us why he needed to have a conversation with Safari, right? So the reason that he needs to have a conversation with Safari is because he invited Safari to Deb Atney's birthday party or something like that, right? You guys know Deb was behind his, him and Nikki, as well as, is it Gucci? Yeah, I think it's Gucci, right? She helped their career. She helped them in their careers, right? So he invited Safari, right? But Safari didn't show up, right? And when people saw the place, the place settings, he had to kind of, skirt around why Safari wasn't there. And Safari said he was there taking care of his kids. I'm like, okay, whatever. Don't care. Really don't care. But Rubbing Pennies comes up to him and he was like, yeah, this might not be the best time to have this conversation. And for once, I actually agreed with him. Brooke, mind your business. What Booby and Sin have going on got to do with you? You're married to Marcus, right? So what that got to do with you? I'm just trying to figure that out. Like, what does that have to do with Brooke? I don't get it, but hey. So then I noticed Safari, right? So Safari was over there with Jonathan like this, and you see Erica laughing because she looked at it because Safari said, "Look at this," and I'm like, "What is he showing him?" Now you guys remember I told you that they had sex, right? So I guess those two must have filmed themselves having sex, and now they're showing people. If I was Jonathan, I would have said, yo, why you showing me, you and your wife having sex? And Erica, why do you think this is funny that your husband is showing me a video of you two having sex? Is anyone as confused as I am? Whatever. We're going to move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So next, let's talk about Jonathan, right? So everybody was sitting down by the pool, right? And Jonathan wanted to have a conversation with Bobby. So Bobby and him have the conversation. So they're talking about, you guys remember in episode 2 when they were going to do the field day, right? When Zelle said that Bobby and Jonathan were too gay for him on that poll, right? And you guys remember Jonathan said, what if someone said that you're too black? And I saw a lot of tweets about this, right? Talking about you can't compare, him being gay to being black. I kind of disagree with you guys, right? I have to disagree. Because what Jonathan was saying is, Jonathan was saying he can't turn off his gayness any more than Zelle can turn off being black. That is what he was saying, right? He's not saying in the sense, because listen to how this sounds. Listen to how it sounds. So let's just say someone said to me, a black person, "Oh, you're too black." Either talking about my skin tone or even the way that I present myself, right? That's not something that I can turn off. My bad, you guys didn't mean to burp me face. That's not something I can turn off. I can't do anything about my skin color because it's there unless I bleached my skin. I can't do anything about that. Or if I act quote unquote black, I'm not going to change that because it makes you uncomfortable, right? And that's what Jonathan is saying. He is gay. He can't be anything but gay. He can't be a straight person because that's not who he is. So he cannot turn off his gayness, right? What people have, and I'm realizing what people have an issue with is not the fact that he's gay, it's his femininity. It's the fact that he's feminine. You guys can't handle the fact that the man is feminine. That's really what it is. If he was a straight presenting man, y'all be like, oh, that's cool, because he still act like a nigga. Or what you perceive to be a quote unquote man, which I tweeted about that, right? Like, then, Bobby said that, Zelle took that as a racist thing. I didn't take it as a racist thing. I knew because I knew exactly what Jonathan meant. And he made a perfect example with Mimi in last week's episode. Like, there's this news reporter, her name is Tashara Parker. She works at WFAA in Dallas, right? And she has this segment about hair because, and I'm gonna actually I'm gonna actually see if I can go to her Instagram. She goes to work with different hairstyles, right? And people had said things about her hairstyle, saying that her hairstyle was not presentable, professional, because she wore some Bantu knots. I'm gonna actually post her Instagram so that you guys can see her. She's a beautiful black woman. But yeah, so it happens. Like, you guys are trying to get upset about what Jonathan said, but he made a perfect example with Mimi about her Bantu knots. If someone told her that hairstyle was too black for the workplace, so you guys just want to get mad about nothing, but whatever, right? So Zelle and Jonathan do have the conversation, right? Zelle says he was just joking, right? But, and here's my thing with Zelle talking about, you making these straight men uncomfortable. How? Yeah, I like to, dudes and stuff like that, but I'm not sitting up here talking about, dick in front of these niggas. But these niggas that you're trying to be, quote unquote, straight for, jewels in them teeth, rubbing pennies, Cisco, Dirty Feet Pete. These are men who, well, I'm not gonna say jewels, but the rest of them are men who objectify women. They talk about how many women they sleeping with. They talking about how they are, cheating on women. But that's what you want to call a quote on, because you're talking about act like a man in front of around the other ones. So let me get this straight. So what consists of a real man? Because what Jonathan said that he did, when his kid, his nieces and nephews, did he say their father died? Whoever died, right? He stepped up to the plate and took care of those kids. That's a real man right there. That's a real man. But you got people like Peter, who got buku baby mamas, right? Don't have any respect for he had no respect for Tara and Amina. Womanizer, misogynist. Is that what you guys call a real man? A womanizer, a misogynist, an abuser. the list can go on. Is that what y'all consider a real fucking man? Like, that's not a real man. That's a little boy pretending to be a man. But go off, because I saw that comment on Twitter too. Yeah, I agree with Zelle. Be a man. What is a real man? What is your definition of a real man? And then Jonathan made a perfect point. He said, but with Eric and him, Safari showed me their sex tape and nobody said nothing about that. She got in her feelings. I don't know why. I was like, okay, Eric, go off. Go off. But we're going to move forward and wrap up the episode, you guys. So, excuse me. We saw Sin at one point. She was talking to Rubbin Penny's Wright, and she was talking to him about Cisco and how whenever Cisco's around, there's this weird energy, there's this weird vibe that's around Wright. So Rubbin Penny tells her that, you know, he doesn't feel that Cisco has moved on from what happened, right, between him and Sin, which that's really on him. Like, you guys had a working relationship. You guys were in the studio with each other. Now I'm starting to remember, when they show more and more of the storyline, I do remember it, right? But you guys had this working relationship with each other, right? You wanted to complicate things by making that relationship more. And when she said, I'm not looking for that, or I don't want that, you then said, okay, since you don't want to rock me in that way, I'm gonna take the record back from you. That was fucked up. So then we move over to Erica. She is having a sex charade party, right? So they had the sex charade party was fun. You know, they would do different positions. If they needed a partner, they would have one, right? Now let me point out something that is a contradiction to what Zelle has been saying, right? So remember, Zelle, he doesn't want to talk about, you know, dicks or anything in front of the niggas. He wants to appear as a man in front of the niggas, right? But while you're in front of these niggas, you got on lace, see-through lace. And when you emulated a sexual position, you emulated doggy style with Bobby. Why not ask your good Judy over there, Shekinah, to emulate that with you? You picked Bobby. Contradiction? I think so. Right? So things got a little bit spicy, and you know, we saw people making out with each other. It was like, okay, here's another thing, right? See, and this is where a double standard comes in. You know, the men were okay when they saw Shekinah and you saw Shekinah kissing Amina. You saw Eric and Amina kissing, right? Nobody had an issue with that, right? None of them had an issue with that, right? None of them had an issue with that. But you want to say that they're going to have an issue with y'all talking about gay sex. If they got an issue with it, tell them to cover their ears. Simple as that, but whatever. I really don't want to get too deep into Zelle because I don't really care, right? So at one point, Cisco went to go talk to Sin, right? Rubbin Pennies once again is right there, right? And he's telling Cisco, I don't think this is a good time to do that, right? But Sin and him go have a conversation to the side, right? Instead of Cisco literally just apologizing to her, he makes it about himself, right? Because he's talking about her doing things in his face, and he's talking about Booby, right? Dude, if you really wanted to get this woman an apology, all you had to do was say, hey, Sin, like, I know you mad at me, right? And, you know, I did do things wrong, and I just want to be man enough to say, hey, I know what that song meant to you. I shouldn't have, you know, let my feelings get in the way and take the song away from you and tell you that you have to pay me for this, you have to pay me for that, you have to do this and this and that, right? I apologize for that. But no, he continuously kept saying, you're doing things in my face. I was just like, okay, Cisco. So then Sin is like, you know what, I didn't want to come to this party in the first place, and then I'm here with you. I'd rather be in the party that I don't want to be at. And sorry, So Mimi, she was talking to everyone else, and she was telling them what the situation was. That Cisco had come up to her, was talking to her, telling her, you know, what he wanted to do, what he wanted to accomplish with Sin, right? Because, you know, he did the song with her, but then when she didn't take on to his advances, he took the song back, saying, if you want the song, you got to pay me for it, right? So Erica was defending her, right? Because she said he just sounds like a butthurt ass nigga, right? So then when Sin came back in, they wanted her to talk about it. And she was like, no, we're not going to talk about that. But what we can talk about is that fake ass page that you had, right? So Erica got in her feelings. She was like, you know, we were in her defending your ass, right? She said, you're all bark but no bite. Then she said to her, like, I made you. I hate when people say that shit. I hate when a person says that. I made you. You didn't make me. You may have given me an opportunity, but you didn't make me, baby. You didn't make me. And then she went off on Jonathan, right? And it was in this moment, I'm like, oh, so Erica does consider herself black? Because she brought up the fact about we're too black for you. I was like, oh, so you do consider yourself black. Okay. I always wondered what she identified as. Not like I really cared, but I just always wondered what Erica identified as. I always wonder what Erica, people on Love and Hip Hop that I wonder what they identify as. Erica, Sin, and Jonathan. I've always wondered, what do they identify themselves as? But see, is Jonathan a white Latino? That's what I've always wondered, because I think, because I remember seeing Jonathan on K. Michelle's show, right? And Jonathan wasn't always this tan. That's neither here nor there, though. But hey, that's the review, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, make sure you guys are notified of when I drop anything else. Share the video, and until the next one, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.